Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Phil Seibel. Mr. Phil, how are you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. And you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Phil. Firstly, you are a coach and you're also an activist. Can you please, sir, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently, Mr. Phil?
Okay. Well, at the moment, I actually this morning I wrote a letter to the International Crimes Court in The Hague. I'm asking the ICC, for short, to investigate the government's reactions in Germany and Switzerland into not prosecuting people that committed very serious crimes against children, against humanity. We're talking about abduction, we're talking about sexual abuse, slavery, denial of basic human rights like food, water, education, freedom of movement, freedom of speech. And the big problem in these Western European countries, or not all Western European countries, some like Scotland, actually, they don't have a statute of limitations. But in Germany and Switzerland, they have this culture where they make every law like very narrow. So like when they say it's a crime against a child, so what exactly is the crime? Did he beat the child, or did he like lock away the child, or did he touch the child inappropriately, or did he rape the child? So it's all these different categories. But there is no category for like a group of people, like a cult, who systematically torture and sexually abuse children every day for like their entire childhood. And when you look at the laws of international crime, the kind of things that these cult people did, like my parents also, this is not just a simple one-time act of abusing a child sexually or beating a child, or it's a crime against humanity. It's a crime that is not by law, by international law. It has no expiration date. So the reason why I'm an activist is because it is really difficult to make the local governments accept that they need to define these laws much more accurately and to make a big differentiation between somebody who is maybe one time abusing the child 30, 40 years ago, or somebody who is in a group of people that are actively committing child trafficking, committing all of these terrible crimes, and to make this a very big difference between one and the other. I mean, even if you harm a child even one time, you're scarring them for life. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking about the legal precedence between the local definition of a law of child abuse or of expiration and the international law that says, yes, if you are committing very heavy crimes against children or against ethnicities or like this, then it doesn't have this expiration date like it has in local countries. So that is basically my big topic at the moment, and that is most of the activism I am doing is collecting testimonies. I'm collecting legal advice from lawyers, from politicians, and mostly it has to do with trying to understand why governments allow crimes that are so horrible against children, why they think there is a time limit where the victim can go and press charges, and why not, as long as the victim is alive and the abuser is alive. In my opinion, the victim should be able to anytime go to the court and say, please, judge, listen to me. Something horrible has happened to me. And not that the judge automatically finds this person guilty. No, we're just talking about having the right to even be able to go to a judge and speak.
I completely agree with you, Mr. Phil. It's definitely not easy. Sexual abuse and every single abuse today are increasing dramatically, and things like this are something that could definitely reduce or even stop it in the coming future. And in terms of this activist career and also this child abuse and cult, have you written any book, Mr. Phil, or are you planning to write any book, Mr. Phil?
I have written two books. I am working on two more. They are available on Amazon. I I am working on a book right now that is dealing with the psychological aspect and the mental aspect of the child abuse and also the life after the child abuse, what is meaning for the victims, how the victims are dealing with this. But I'm writing it from my personal view, from my egotistical view. But I'm also trying to bring in a third party views, and so it's going to be like a little bit of a collage. The first two books that I wrote are fictional 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 descriptions of what I and other people suffered at the hands of this cult called the Children of God or the Family International, as they are now known. The cult still exists to this day. And the first book is called The Monsters That Kiss You Goodnight. I chose this title because this is exactly putting it on the nail of the head of the nail. Is these people are monsters who are pretending to love you, to guide you, to nurture you, who are supposed to protect you, but they are themselves the very ones that are making your life as a child so horrible that you wish that you were never born. Like I said, in this cult that I grew up in, the prophet, how do you say, the guru, the main leader of the cult, he was outspoken pedophile. He actively encouraged his cult members to have sex with their own children, to have sex with other children. This is well documented. There's thousands and thousands of testimonies all over the world of victims of this cult like me. And yet, because these crimes happened on international level, it is very, very difficult to get anyone to go to prison for this. Because I will give you an example. So a German man, he goes to India and he abuses a girl, maybe a 6-year-old girl, who is from Sweden. Her mother is not in India. Her mother is maybe, let's say, in South America, and she has given permission of another man, let's say from the Philippines, to guard this daughter while his daughter is living in India. So the German man, he is committing a crime in India, but the Indian government is like, yes, but he is German citizen, he needs to be tried in Germany. The German government says yes, but he commit the crime in India, he needs to be tried in India. Then again, for example, the girl who is Swedish, she says maybe when she is 20 years later, she says, "Oh, this man, he abused me when I was a child." So she goes to Sweden to the police. Then the Swedish police say, "Yes, okay, we have no statutes of limitations here. So when you get this man into Sweden, we will prosecute him." So then she finds out where this man is living, let's say in Germany, but then the German government says, no, 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 with our laws, 20 years, it's already finished. You cannot press charges anymore. So we will not extradite this man to Sweden. And this is the big fucker. Sorry, my language. This is the big bullshit that you face. And this is why the ICC needs to make an example of people like this all over the world and say, regardless of where you commit the crime or whatever, this is an international crime. It's a crime against humanity, and forcing these governments to take action. And the reason why I made my book fictional is because in the book, the main character, his name is Tommy Luca Engel, he becomes like an angel of vengeance, because I think for many people who experience very severe abuse as a child, when they grow up, they want to have vengeance. They want to commit acts of violence against the people who are hurting them, right? But if we do this in a real world, what happens to us? We go to prison, right? We get arrested. You say, yeah, you cannot, even if somebody is raping you as a child, you cannot go and murder this man, then you go to prison, it's how it is. So I wanted to give because it's such a horrible topic. It's so vile. It's so ungodly. It's something no child should ever experience. I had to write it also in the third person to also protect me and to also protect a lot of other victims that are mentioned in this book. So I made it like fictional, but all the things that happen in the book are, we can say, they happen in one way or another for real. But then later on in the books, when Tommy, this character, he's getting older, Then he, for example, he sees a girl when he is 14, 15. She is being sexually assaulted in a toilet. So he is going to fight this man, and then he ends up killing him. And the reason why I mix real events with fictional events is because I want to empower other victims like me out there to feel like maybe if not in the real world we can get justice, maybe also in the fictional world we can feel like, oh yeah, we have this power that when we open a book and we read it, then we can live out our suffering and our wish for vengeance, you know. And the second book I wrote is starting when I was 15 years old. I was homeless on the streets of Switzerland and in all over Europe for almost 9 years, starting at the age of 15, and I finished when I became a father at the age of 23. And the second book is the first year of surviving on the streets of Europe. And there again, I developed this character, Tommy. So part of it is the real life that I lived of like playing on the street, begging for donations, asking people if I can go sleep at their house and whatever. But also in the book, because I experienced this in real life too. When you are 15, 16 years old, you have very, very disgusting people also. You know, you have men also or older women. They come to you, oh, you're so nice. You want to come sleep at my house and blah, blah, blah. And then maybe they try to poison your drink or make you sleepy, you know, like this. And in the book, of course, Tommy, when he is discovering people like this, then yeah, he ends their life, you know. So we are making like this kind of cross between real life and fiction, like a little bit. I don't know if you know the series Dexter. It's
I've
a series.
not heard of it before.
Yeah. Anyway, Dexter, he's basically like he's a serial killer who's killing serial killers. So he's a good man. He's going after bad people and killing them, you know. And I watched the series, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I thought that was really cool. So when I was writing my book, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I make something like this too, you know? Yeah.
Definitely, I completely agree with that, Phil. It's definitely funny and it's a very, very traumatic situation. That's why we also have a lot of people who are facing a lot of trauma, a lot of depression today. And that will also drive me to society. Society play a huge role in this situation, probably in courts situation like that, and also in child abuse, Mr. Phil. What changes you personally would like to see in society when it comes to supporting individual, assisting individual in situations like this, Mr. Phil?
Well, I think the biggest problem that we have at the moment in society is the fact um, that we have this notion that the victim is almost as looked down on as the person who is abusing.
Hmm.
So, like for me, I'm a man, right? I'm now 44 years old. I have three children. And for maybe over 25 years of my adult life, I have never with one word speak about my abuse. Why? Because yeah, it's a very horrible thing to experience, but it's also a very embarrassing thing. No one wants to say, oh, yeah, I was, abused by my stepfather, or my mother is trying to have sex with
Mm,
me when I am a child. So we have the stigma also that in a lot of cultures, even like, for example, not so much with men, but also with women, especially, when a woman, for example, she is 11, 12, 13 years old and her stepfather is raping her, then the mother and her family is like, well, yeah, but you're maybe looking at him nicely, or you're trying to be naked, or you're teasing him sexually. So it's your fault. So the person is not only having to experience this horrific rape and this abuse against her will, but she is also again being abused because everyone else is saying, "Oh, you are the problem," you know. And when I went to the police, this is a true story here.
mm,
I went to the police in 2015, the first time that I decided to go to the authorities and say with words I was sexually abused by my parents, and I was talking, and another policeman, he come into the room. I was making my statement to a policewoman, And he come into the room, and in German he told me, "Yeah, I should be ashamed of myself because people like me, they are just coming to the police. They tell us a sad story, and then they say, 'Oh, I want money and I want compensation.' And you should stop crying about things that happened 20 years ago, and you should be a man, be a man about it, and grow up basically." And he's standing there saying this to me, and he has his weapon here like that. And the woman, she stand up and she grabbed him and she pushed him out of the room and say, "Go." And then after he left, I said, "That was very good that you did that, because I think 1 second later I would have gone up and grabbed his weapon and one of us would be dead." I was so angry.
Angry.
So I think society in general, what we need is when victims, egal of what age, what man or woman or non-binary or whatever, when people are talking about their abuse, what we need to do as a society is to make it normal, to say it's okay. You are not one of us. You are just like the rest of us. There's nothing different from you. There's nothing wrong with you, because if victims can feel like they can be comfortable to talk about their abuse, that is the biggest weapon that abusers have, that rapists have, is they know that the person who they are raping or that they are violating will be afraid to talk about it. And that is what they're giving them power. So we as a society, if we want to take the power away from people who will rape children or rape women or whatever, is we need to give these victims the chance to speak about it as if they were talking about anything else, like if they're talking about their holiday or their dog or their boyfriend. And, "Oh, yes, by the way, yes, this man over here, he is raping me." I was like, "Okay, we go arrest him." End of story. And I think when we achieve that as a society, we will also wipe this horrible sickness from our human race. Because only when we give the power to the victims to be able to speak normally about this horrific subject, we will take the power away from the abusers, that they do not no longer have the ability to cause fear to their victim.
I completely agree with you, Mr. Phil. That power is what is given to them. And if we are, as a society, can say it is normal to get out and say this, thing, or even have this accusation, then things will continue to get better. It will reduce and it will even make those abuser to grow weaker in things like that. Thank you so much, Mr. Phil. And lastly, Mr. Phil, there's a question I normally ask from the ancestors, from the forefathers. There are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time, and it is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Phil, what do you think that thing would be?
Uh, I grew up in a culture in within the cult that most of the things that we learned from our ancestors
Mm.
were quite evil. I mean, we're talking about, like, women were not allowed to vote. We're talking about women have to be subjugated to men. We're talking about children have no right to have an opinion. They have no right to speech. They have to do anything that the father is commanding them. Patriarchy, the man is the boss of the house, and everyone else has to shut up and to do what the daddy is telling. So, in my opinion, actually, just because something is old or because something is ancestral doesn't necessarily make it right or make it good.
Mm.
And I think maybe what we can take from our ancestors is exactly that, is to not, just because something has always been done the same way over hundreds or thousands of years, doesn't necessarily make it right. Like, for example, the circumcision of women or circumcision of men, or like I said, like giving women equal rights, and or not treating races like inferior beings because of something that a holy book is saying or whatever. So I am sure there's not off the top of my head, I am sure there are things from our ancestry that are good and wise and that we can also bring into our modern world. But I would just be very careful of taking everything just as it is, just because somebody 300 years ago says it is like this. Like, I will give you an example for with medicine, right? 300 years ago, they have all sorts of real nonsense ideas Like they say, the woman's uterus is roaming all around her body, and this is why she's getting hysteria. Or they're saying like 500 years ago, oh, the human body is made up of different kinds of goo. You have black goo and green goo and red goo, and just complete nonsense, right? And then at the same time, the medicine books of like 500 years ago, if you would bring this to now to a doctor and say, I want to be treated like this, the doctor would laugh at you, right? But now hear me out. But then we have books like religious books that were also made thousands of years ago. But we are taking this like it is the law, like it is the word of God to this very day. And I'm just saying maybe we should take everything in the present time, we should consider it with a modern approach and not just take something as is just because everyone has been doing the same thing for thousands of years.
I completely agree with you too, Mr. Phil. A lot of things have happened during our ancestral time, terrible things and also great things. But we just continue to try our best to just bring out the great things that have happened. I also try, probably used to remember during my mother time, my mom will always tell me, do not try, always try your best to not go into any our court. During our experience, she also used to tell me during our experience in our university, she had a lot of
Mhm.
people who had a lot of abuse. She had a lot of people who even killed themselves due to some type of circumstances. Can't you just imagine when you hear someone are killing themselves because of a woman or because of a lady? Situations like that is what really, really emerges. And she always continues to remind this in my head that always try your best to know the type of people you try your best to surround. And court is a very, 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 very inspiring topic. And child abuse is a very, very big topic. And I'm also glad that things like this are coming out, getting people to get educated through you. I want to also sincerely thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Phil, for the time on speaking on this topic. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, you're absolutely welcome. And I hope that many of your followers, you will gain more followers.
Thank you.
Where are you in Nigeria, actually?
I'm currently in Lagos State, sir.
Okay, I was in Ivory Coast a few years ago visiting.
Mm.
I have three children, half Somali. So yeah, I love African food, and I know quite a few Africans here in Switzerland. It's such an amazing continent and so many different languages,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Mm.
And for all you listeners out there, come check me out at my YouTube channel, and you can find the links. You can find my website. I make like a t-shirt designs, and I write books,
Mm.
and I'm making a petition which you already signed
Yes.
for the ICC. So yeah, that's it, I guess,
All
from
right,
my
sir.
side now.
Actually meant a lot to me. Thank you so much, Mr. Phil. Bye bye.
You're absolutely welcome, and have a great day. So, bye.